Well, evening, everybody. Ooh, the game audio is loud again for some reason. Let's see what we can do about that. How's everybody tonight? Conduct the nightly ritual of audio adjustment. Is the game audio loud on chat's end?
Can't hear game audio. I think that's normal.
What about the YouTube folks? Oh, and by the way, here we go, Discord folks. Okay, so the game audio is clear for the folks on YouTube, but it's not too loud. Might as well say hi to the chat. Evening to Fiona Wolf, Bradford Walker, Raul Nyanzi, Simon Hogwood, Eli, Jethin, how you doing? Okay, allow me to introduce my co-host. We've got a full slate tonight. How you doing, Argonon?
I am doing well, Brian. Thank you.
Excellent. Martel, good to have you back.
Good to be back.
And live from the road, we are remoting in Catholic Lancer. Say hi to the folks.
Like chat says, game audio is still a little bit louder than we are. Maybe that's a good thing, though. I don't know.
That's weird. It just corrected itself. Yeah, that was odd. It was completely out of my control. Like, the audio wasn't responding to any of the sliders or dials I was playing with. But now it just decided to fix itself. Yeah, that was the thing, Raul. I was
at least
trying.
It's behaving.
Yeah, I was trying to turn the game audio down. It wasn't responding at all. So it's just doing its own thing. But I think... Yeah, the game audio is quieter now. It just randomly happened for no reason. Science and technology!
Yeah.
Better living
Be
through chemistry.
watching that dial tonight.
Yeah. It's good to be back. Recap from last time. We defeated Vigraf, the captain of the Death Corps, in a pitched battle at a windmill. But he didn't die, he fled, and before retreating, he revealed that Reinhard's older brother was in cahoots with Prince Larg to stage the kidnapping of the Marquis. And we failed to retrieve Delita's sister Tata. And meanwhile, on the game mechanics side, we unlocked some more powers for our calculator and did some magical experimentation with math. She is a math magician and suffered a bout of Fulcrum-Carey syndrome by taking her out with a level 5 death spell. But live and learn, that's why pencils have erasers.
Exactly.
So let's take a look at the formation. Yeah, there she is. Now, we have learned how to set CT as one factor and then cast magic according to either prime CT or CT divisible by 5. Also, I believe it was Ardenon who figured out what CT means. And it's not directly initiative, it's kind of like if you play the earlier 2D Final Fantasies where you've got like an active time gauge that slowly fills up. CT is like the number of points between 0 and 100 that slowly fill up while a character is waiting for its turn, and when the CT gauge hits 100, that is when a unit can act. So a calculator can cast spells that affect everyone whose current CT is either prime or a factor of 5, including the calculator herself. So you gotta be careful.
I don't remember, based on the webpage, I found that, what exactly it is, but in my head now it's clock timer.
Sounds about right.
Sure, we'll go with that. Just going to check everybody's jobs and set skills right now. So we did our grinding. I'm just going to dive into the next step in the story. So no need for that. We're not going to be farming JP right now. I think I'm going to do 2 swords. And that looks nice. Don't need that. Oh, so pursuant to a question the Martel had last time, short charge would be one way to make a calculator go faster. Because it shortens the CT meter. Don't put on my thief. Oh, and hey!
It's good to know, too.
Yeah, and the calculator already knows it, so let's throw it on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do one more quick equipment check. She still doesn't have a weapon. That's okay. Math is the most powerful weapon of all.
I think, as he said last night, the homage to Jack Vance is built into the game.
Oh yeah, there's a video that I really should dig up for you guys from a few years ago that traces the entire origins of JRPGs going back to D&D and like through Ultima and Wizardry and then Dragon Quest and yeah, even up through Tactics. Definitely got Vancian DNA by way of D&D.
Well, that's why it's feeling so comfy.
Yeah. It's like a familiar tray cloth robe you can just easily slip into.
That's right.
Phenomenal.
Drop in my chainmail jerkin and grab my Mesa's Disruption. Life is good.
It doesn't get any better than that. Okay. Just doing a little more prep.
Just throw on Fandal's Mantle of Comfiness and you're good to go.
Yeah, get some banana nut bread hot from the oven, a cup of piping cocoa, relax in front of a fire. That's the life.
So the idea then, it's like one of those beer hats, but instead it's a neck pillow that's full of hot cocoa.
Oh, patent that.
And then it just has a tube.
Yeah, get on that, register that now. Who knows how many people heard that.
This is a free service of the Geek Gab.
Much like our history lectures, which I'm sure we will get into soon. I can't wait.
If past episodes are any indication.
Indeed. Oh, for clarification, too, from last night, we were talking about physics in outer space. A quick way to look at what you were talking about, Martel, would also be to take a look at the ideal gas law, or Charles's law. That pressure is directly proportional to temperature, so if we're dropping the temperature, the pressure is... I'm sorry, if you're dropping the pressure, which is outer space is near vacuum, temperature is going to fall very quickly, too, which means your boiling point is going to drop precipitously.
Right, but what about in a self-contained system? Like where the only form of heat loss is through radiation?
Again, it would be dependent upon the thermal barrier that you've got between the liquid or solid and that vacuum outside. So again, the temperature gradient that's based on, or proportional to temperature to the fourth power, or temperature delta to the fourth power, is going to be kind of your governing factor. So it'll gradually lose heat. It'll gradually, in that case, since it's a sealed container, it should revert to a solid if it's water.
Okay. I mean, like, temperature loss by radiation is more efficient the denser the medium is, right?
Well, the temperature loss in that case, you may actually be getting it by conduction, although it'll radiate from the surface of the container itself, the outside surface. So it'll conduct through the thermal barrier and then radiate into space.
Right. Sorry, poor phrasing.
No, that's all right.
Isn't conducting a much more efficient method of heat transfer than radiation? So, like, if you immerse a hot object into a vat of water or put a hot object in a vacuum, it'll lose the temperature much more rapidly in water.
Right, and now we're almost dipping into statistical physics here with the number of states available to capture the energy. It's going to depend somewhat on the configuration of the system we're talking about. I would say that conduction is probably going to be much faster than the radiation, but I'd have to sit down with a pencil and paper and actually grind out some of that stuff.
Oh boy, and immediately they ratchet up the tension as this Deathcore Knight is holding Delita's sister hostage. Oh, and by the way, the weather and local conditions affect certain battle elements, so ice element spells are more powerful here.
Uh-huh.
There's tons of powder inside the fort. I don't think he means cocaine.
Well, where do you think all the white's coming from?
Can you imagine what the street value of this mountain is?
This is pure snow.
I can't feel my arm.
Oh, $2.
That's my
kingdom
favorite.
for a dollar bill.
It's my favorite comedy of all time.
Really?
Better Off Dead?
Better
Oh yeah.
Off Dead.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
It was written and directed by Savage Steve Holland, the same guy who was behind Eek the Cat.
So my wife introduces me to that movie recently.
Which one?
Better Off Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, the very next day, she's cleaning out the freezer, and she shows me this thing she's created where she's like, "Look, dear, I shredded up a bunch of spinach and froze them into ice cubes to make healthy smoothies with." And I just look at her and I'm like, you are the Better Off Dead one.
He likes corn.
Put it in bags.
Did CL get TV dinners for Christmas?
No, but the movie's director actually did.
Wow. And
Uh-oh. He's seen Speed.
oh hey, it's the shoot the hostage trick.
Yeah.
Yep. We're both on the same page.
Well, yeah. Got ourselves a skewered tater. Oh no.
Something I appreciated about that film was that even though the main character is sort of a loser at first and needs to improve, it does establish that he is in fact pretty good at skiing from the get-go.
Yeah.
This is true.
Also, pursuant to a recent topic of discussion on the show and a recent blog post, they call the mountain in that movie K-12.
Nice.
Which there is in real life. There actually is a Karakoram 12. But it's not remotely as difficult to climb as K2 is.
K-12 always reminds me of Canadian TV show Police Surgeon.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Well, there's this scene where they've got to cut somebody out of a car or use the jaws of life, or, and there's just I think they got a real fire department chief out there. All right, get to K-12. So they come up with this, the big bandsaw or the jaws of life, whatever it is. But yeah, get to K-12.
Yeah, for Data Chat. Also, JD Count, have you ever seen, what was it called, Police Surgeon?
Yeah, Police Surgeon.
I wonder if you've seen that.
F's in the chat.
For a little tater. We hardly knew you. Oh, and they take guns into the equation later, chat. I do like how the fact that gunpowder exists in this world is kind of foreshadowing. But that comes up later.
So hypothetically, what happens if you hit everyone on the map at the same time with a spell that instantly kills them?
We'll have to find out, won't we?
Experimentation. It's fun. Now I have to go look it up. Looks like JD has not seen Police Surgeon, and this was back in the 70s, so.
Okay, this was kind of in the same class as like Rescue or Chips or something.
Yeah, this is Dr. Simon Locke, also known as Police Surgeon, Canadian syndicated television series from 71 to 74. It would run on our NBC affiliate like late at night, Saturday or something like that. So we're just up watching Police Surgeon. Yeah, it was a fun throwaway film. I'm trying to find out who the Ian Hendry as Dr. Jeffrey Brent.
Well, what a 70s name.
That's the UK. That's the UK series. I didn't realize it was a UK series. That's interesting.
Oh, little nod to
I gotta
FF7
find
here.
Hmm.
Which is...
Well, that one didn't go so well either, did it?
Yeah. But it's also a nod to how you get Cloud in this game, because you can have Cloud join your army. And to get him, you do have to encounter Eris and buy flowers from her.
Huh.
So that's a little conveyance there. It's a little hint.
Mm-hmm. Sam Groom and Jack Albertson starred in it. But I do remember Leslie Nielsen showing up in one episode, as well as William Shatner.
Oh, nice. Well, he'll do everything. William Shatner was there at the beginning of television, and he will be there if it ever ends.
Yeah.
I'm half convinced he's Neil Gaiman's god of television, like just the personification of it.
He will be.
Oh, that was satisfying.
Punching him in the face. Or whacking him with a sword in the face.
I had him with Thor. I always knew this guy'd be trouble. Ooh, I liked him pretty good. Ha! Okay, that was epic. Shoots a guy's sister, tries to shoot him. He's like, nope.
Everyone is missing.
Yeah, we're just that far ahead of these guys. Oh yeah, I'll just push delete his berserk button.
I mean, you killed the guy's sister. I'm not sure what you expect.
They just exchanged though.
These are vanilla wizards.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Time to put the kids to bed here.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
That's all of them, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Heck
for
of
the
an
two
area
for.
of effect there.
Yeah, summons are nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's enhanced because it's snowing.
Ah.
So here's the 2.5D, because clearly that is a sprite, but in a 3D environment. Love it. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Ooh, let's see what he's got.
Doesn't
What-
look like anything particularly good.
Yeah. Just kill him. There we go. I see what you mean. Her name actually is Vanilla. Oh man, he's all right.
Yep.
Right after this, he's gonna go looking for a little groundhog, little gopher. Man, YouTube is being super censorious with the comments of this night, making me, or tonight, making me approve all of them. JD Cowan, the person who saved my life doesn't matter. Algus is the dumbest idiot in this game. Yeah, and that's a high bar. We're all getting dark. I see people are discussing the Maxwell trial. He's found guilty.
Probably best to avoid that.
Yeah. These show trials are getting boring anyway.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of show trials that were interesting, what about that Alcibiades fellow?
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. I should have gotten right up there in the middle of the wizards. Oh well. Finish him off. What's Vanilla gonna do? Oh.
Use ice, I imagine.
That's what I would have
I
thought
was
too.
waiting for the caramel syrup.
Yeah. What was that?
Gumph.
Okay. Life is like a box of chocolates. And then for no particular reason at all, he shot that girl. My accent is horrible.
Okay, now you're just being sure. This guy really deserves getting punched in the face.
Yeah. The leader might just decide that his sinuses need to be scraped.
I could go for some of that. Being able to breathe through my nose would be a relief. Yeah, 18. That the best you got? Okay, that made me mad. Oh, Delita might be turning him into a frog. Nice, because I got that short CT ability. Even cast faster than the wizards. So yeah, I'm digging that. Gotta love the thieves' mobility. Oh yeah.
No, that's
Oh.
not going to buff out.
No. Oof. Couldn't poison him. You know, if you're going to play a high-stakes game of political intrigue in the Middle Ages, you got to be able to poison people effectively. There's just no excuse for that.
Yep. Also, clearly no one here has ever read their given. Yeah. If you're going to do injury to someone, do such injury to them that they cannot take revenge.
Hmm.
But never leave someone alive.
Hey, I was just being petty there. I don't even have to kill this guy. Oh, the little rat has auto potion.
Mm-hmm.
My archer is not hitting as hard as he used to. Okay.
Those little sparkle. There's some little sparkles going on around Tata.
Oh. That's the placeholder for when a unit is unconscious. But there's no countdown on it.
Okay.
So yeah, she's not going to turn into a chest or a crystal. And I can't really interact with her at all. Delete and sis. Aquarius. So we don't know her stats, but we know her sign. Again, very 70s. Oh, I'm out. Oh, wait. Okay, Moogle heals. Definitely don't want that. So now it's a race to see which of my units is going to kill August. Let's see.
At the risk of spoilers, are we going to get some satisfaction here, or is it going to be another of those JRPG teleport out and deny you the satisfaction?
I forget, honestly. I'm on the edge of my seat just like you. Yeah, these two over here just going at it. And August turned his back to him.
Oh, shouldn't have done that.
Now that is supreme arrogance.
Yeah. Rawl just commented, I guess Tata will be cremated in beef tallow while August will suffer the dishonor of seed oil.
It's more than he deserves.
That's
Terrible fate.
dark.
Oh, YouTube making me approve another comment by JD. Yes, he is a half-wit. August is. Okay, no, he looks pretty dead. Somebody poke him with a stick. Just to make sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure. So there you have it, satisfied?
A little bit surprised, and I don't know, you get faked out so many times in these sorts of games that even when you actually get the kill, I'm kind of left feeling surprised and going, wait, did I actually just kill that guy? Or is there going to be another fake out here? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like... Oh, wait a minute. So August is rapidly becoming a corpse sickle, but I think someone found the powder magazine.
Ooh.
Was it my fault? I didn't use any fire or lightning or guns.
You know, that is some very sturdy construction on that tower. All of the explosion got vented towards the other tower, apparently. The contractors couldn't tell.
I only stirred the tanks.
Famous last words. In fact, I blame seed oil for that whole explosion. They were refining
I blame
rapeseed.
E4s.
They were refining rapeseeds in there. I'm gonna create a new save file because there's no going back from that point. This is the first major plot turn in the game. Because if you remember, at the very beginning, the game started in the present, where Reinhard was a mercenary, and then we flashed back to his days at the academy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we are back. So the flashback is over. Flashback we started like 3 weeks ago. Oh yeah. Breakout character entering. If this were a sitcom, like the applause track would be going now. And to refresh Chet's memory, she's talking about Delita, who kidnapped the princess in the prologue. I got Gary in such a murk. I dig how the priests in this game have the original Final Fantasy I little red triangles on white design going on. Agrias pro-tagging like a champ. And those lightning effects are crunchy.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned before, the rain is my favorite effect in here.
Oh, it's good. And I just find like one of those 10-hour loops of just this soundtrack, just the storm sounds. Fall asleep instantly. And that is a really long title, and I like it. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. I am continuously impressed at what they were able to do with the constraints they were under.
And because we saved Rad, he gets to join. So I believe we have Rad fans in chat. Well, Rad doesn't need dialogue, JD. He's a man of action, not a man of words. Okay. We don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. Oh! And missions open up at bars now. Those will be fun. Okay. Well, if anything, I think I'll add these guys because you can always fire people because they have nice equipment and I can always strip it off them and sell it.
Mercenary mindset.
Winning mindset.
Good time.
Yeah. Thanks for the free stuff. Now get out of here. That Rad is a good choice for favorite character. Although Agrias is mine. Oh, I'm glad to have her in the party now.
Any particular reason?
You'll see. I mean, she's just a great character. So like I pointed out, she takes initiative, she has a set of principles, and sticks to them. But she's fatalistic. I really appreciate her kind of melancholy attitude. Just, okay, got this job to do. This sucks, but I'm gonna do it.
My kind of character.
Also, her abilities are awesome.
I can appreciate that.
Dark Knight and Holy Knight. We haven't seen that yet, have we?
We haven't been in control of it, but yeah, we've seen some of their abilities. So yeah, that's not evil at all. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I played a Death Knight in World of Warcraft, so that stuff's right up my alley.
Yeah, so she's, for all intents and purposes, a paladin. Because she can use holy swords, she knows pre-spells.
Actually, historical note, do any of you know where the term paladin comes from?
Yes, but I'm not going to spoil it.
Anyone else?
Samus. I also do not want to spoil it.
Let's see if
I'll be the
YouTube
one to
chat...
say, I don't know.
Actually, yeah, let's give them a shot. YouTube chat, do you know where the term paladin comes from? And knowing them, they're all going to give the right response. Alright, let's see.
Oh, there it is.
Anne is saying Bran, Tale of Roland. I'll give it a little bit for other people.
Agree with Bradford Walker that between this game and FF4, the Dark Knight job... Oh, the genesis of Final Fantasy XIV's Dark Knight job is clear. Okay, I hadn't played FF14, didn't know they had Dark Knights in that, but it's good that they do.
Yeah, there we go. From what I can tell, good game, just I don't care for it because the game systems are the same type as World of Warcraft, and those systems are a bit dated, I think. They have not aged well. Roll Nancy says, I think it comes from Charlemagne's Knights. They might have been named after the Palatine Hill. Close. And Chan was very close with the Tale of Roland as well. So, Constantine the Great, actually, after he disbanded the Praetorian Guard, decided that he needed an elite palace guard, like the Praetorians, but a lot more loyal. So he created the Palatine, or the Palace Guard. Charlemagne, considering himself king of the Romans, decided that he needed to do the same thing, so he formed his elite knights into the Palace Guard, or the Palatini. Over time, etymological drift rendered that paladin, and it has since become a knight given a holy quest to... Well, quests were handed out for a variety of things back in the day. Usually as some form of penance, I'm given to understand.
Interesting. See,
That's interesting.
Yeah. I was actually gonna. I was wrong. We're incomplete because I'd always heard that it meant peer, like as in equals, and was gonna harken back to the Song of Roland and the Matter of France. So I was not aware that Charlemagne actually had a palace guard of real paladins. So that's awesome.
Yep. And actually, I think that the peer is a descendant of paladin being used in that manner, as in the peer of the table or peer of the realm. Like the traditional English principle of trial by a jury of peers. The reason for that institution was actually because lords were given show trials by kings or what have you, so they demanded trial by a jury of their peers, of someone with the station to judge them.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And I'm glad I didn't jump in because I would have said, Richard Boone, have gun will travel.
And I'm flashing back to Stand By Me. Wait a minute.
And Bradford Walker says, you can thank Cole Anderson for the shift into its current fantasy form. Yes, 3 Hearts and 3 Lions was very good. And, unless I'm mistaken, yeah, that's actually very funny, because the main character is Olgar the Dane, or Ogier the Dane, and he served Charlemagne in the Song of Roland, so he was an actual paladin in the original sense. Well, I say actual in the story. His historical authenticity is, as with anything, up for some debate. Personally, I'm inclined to think that there's more truth than myth to those tales, but
Oh, check this guy out.
oh boy.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
Oh, I was just saying that the historicity of just about anything is up for a lot of debate, given the scarcity of writing materials for most of the periods being recorded.
And here is where the Japanese trope of the evil Church of Evil begins to rear its ugly head. But yeah, we know that this guy is a knight who also has the power to anathematize people. So keep an eye out for him.
Some hardcore haggling.
I have a feeling that all of them
Those are
is...
a difference between...
Go ahead.
Is there any difference between anathematization and excommunication?
Well, anathema comes from the Greek for a curse. Previously, ecumenical councils would give a list of anathemas. Like if anyone says that Christ is not the second person of the Godhead co-equal with God the Father, let him be anathema, right?
Right.
I don't think they're direct synonyms, but I mean, that gets into the different kinds of excommunication, because in the broadest sense, excommunication just means not in full communion. So, I mean, committing a single mortal sin places one in a state of simplex or simple excommunication where you're not to present yourself for the sacraments until you're absolved. But then there's formal excommunication, wherein a bishop informs one of the faithful that, hey, you have manifestly and obstinately dissented from an essential teaching of the faith, so you are not, in fact, within the walls. You're not in communion. But I think the anathemas, like of councils, are grounds for excommunication.
So ideas are anathematized, people are excommunicated.
That's a way of putting it, but I mean, then again, the councils do say, let him be anathema. Like, let him be accursed.
Fair.
But I think in practice, the way that CL laid it out is how it works. Although you'd hardly know it because excommunication hardly gets used anymore, and you guys know my personal take is that we could use a lot more of it to clear the air. Just get rid of some of this confusion.
Yeah.
And the Dark Knight and the Paladin butting heads. Okay, so this question intrigues me. I must now take a break to look it up. Why don't my co-hosts engage with the chat a bit while I let my fingers do the walking?
All right. And we've got Western titles coming up in chat.
Yeah, we're running down some Clint Eastwood films for Final Fantasy.
A Fistful of Gil, for a few Gilmore, Knight Navy Kobold.
I love you guys.
Nice. This is great. You know, I just realized that you could make the Seven Samurai and have it be about the classes in this game. Wow, that killed the conversation real fast. And Shan is now talking about the Spanish Inquisition, which...
nobody expects.
No. Also completely different from the Holy Inquisition. Which most people don't get. And also considered very fair by the standards of their day.
Mm-hmm.
Have I mentioned the whole thing about inquisitorial versus secular courts on the show?
Not while I've been here.
Okay. It was actually a relatively frequent occurrence that people accused of a crime being tried in secular courts who thought that they were getting a bad deal would commit some minor heresy that was still severe enough to call in the Inquisition. They would get turned over to the much more stringent inquisitorial courts, who would find them not guilty of whatever crime they were accused of on the basis of the evidence, turn to the far more serious matter of heresy, explain exactly how the person in question was a heretic, at which point they would recant, do whatever penance was prescribed, and go on their way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Allow me to sidestep. But again, if you're being unfairly charged, I can see where that option might look pretty good.
Yep.
Okay.
Especially since they didn't pull out the torches and stakes unless you refused to recant and insisted on spreading heresy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking of which, so I looked up anathema. So it comes from the Greek. We've got the root thema, and then the alpha privative, in the sense of depriving something, right? And thema, I believe in this sense, is like a group or a community, so like literally it would be excommunication, but the connotation is something placed on high or suspended or set aside. And originally it was a type of sacrifice wherein the object to be sacrificed was suspended from the roof or walls of a temple for the purpose of being exposed to view. So originally it was offering to God. So, for example, in the book of Judith offered up all the arms of Holofernes, which people had given him, and offered them to the Lord as an anathema of oblivion. Okay, but because of that, the linguistic drift, because as odious objects, as in the arms and spoils from enemies are exposed to view, the term came to mean something hated or execrable, to be devoted to public abhorrence or destruction. Okay, and so in the Old Testament, it came to be used as a synonym for haram in the Aramaic. Okay, so I'm sure we're familiar with its current use. Okay, so like
Right.
Deuteronomy,
Right.
yeah, it says, like, "Now thou shalt thou bring anything of the idol into thy house, lest thou become anathema like it." So nations, individuals, animals, and inanimate objects may become anathema, i.e. cursed and devoted to destruction. So specifically, it is a curse which condemns the thing anathematized to oblivion.
Oh, like the Amalekites?
Yeah, I think that would qualify. Now, in the New Testament, there's a shift, so anathema no longer entails death, but the loss of goods or exclusion from the society of the faithful. St. Paul frequently uses the word in the latter sense. In the Epistle to the Romans, he says, "For I wish myself to be an anathema from Christ." Almost certainly referring to his early persecution of the church. Oh no, then he says, "But I should wish to be separated and rejected of Christ, if by that means I would procure the salvation of my brethren." So St. Augustine echoes him later when he wrote that if he could save his flock by going to hell, he would do it. So, okay. So in the more contemporary sense, anathema is a solemn form of excommunication. So anathema remains a major excommunication, which is to be promulgated with great solemnity. A formula for this ceremony is drawn up by Pope Zachary in 741. The Roman Pontifical reproduces it. And a book of the Latin title I'm not going to read. And it distinguishes three sorts of excommunication. Minor, which I mentioned before. Major, which is pronounced by the Pope. And then anathema, which is solemnly promulgated by the Pope. And there's a formula which ends with these words: "Wherefore, in the name of God, the all-powerful, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, of the blessed Peter, Prince of the Apostles, and of all the saints, in virtue of the power which has been given us of binding and loosing in heaven and on earth, we deprive," insert name here, "himself and all his accomplices and all his abettors of the communion of the body and blood of our Lord. We separate him from the society of all Christians. We exclude him from the bosom of our Holy Mother, the Church, in heaven and on earth. We declare him excommunicated and anathematized, and we judge him condemned to eternal fire with Satan and his angels and all the reprobate, so long as he will not burst the fetters of the demon, do penance, and to satisfy the Church. We deliver him to Satan to mortify his body, that his soul may be saved on the day of judgment." Whereupon all the assistants respond, "Fiat,
Ouch.
fiat, fiat."
Because that's not just him, that's anybody connected with him suddenly finds themselves in that situation.
Possibly, and it's pretty serious. But you have to admit that if applied today,
connected by as in followers or family?
well, it says right here. Okay, all of his accomplices and all of his abettors.
Okay.
So I'm not a canon lawyer, but in that I would read like anyone who knowingly and willingly participated in the anathematized act. So basically, it's for like heresiarchs and all the followers thereof. Would be one application I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has its uses. Oh, and I see another challenger has entered the arena. Why don't you come forward and introduce yourself?
Hello, Brian. Crusader Saracen here. Hope I'm not too late or, still able to join.
Now we're about to get it on with some mercenaries trying to bushwhack us. And we got a Dark Knight and a Paladin in the party, so that's fun.
Ooh. All right. About to get into some good times then. Apologies for being late. Just had to take care of some business. But yeah, glad to hear. Glad to have some fun tonight.
Te absolvo.
Marcel, you said something about the Seven Samurai that I missed earlier.
Seven samurai and one calculator, Chan says.
He also says the Inquisition is more fair than a modern courtroom. Yes.
Oh yeah, you missed that whole discussion. Good times.
I'll just add, yes, absolutely correct.
We're going to get a front row seat for some Knight Sword action. When it healed him. So, some vampirism. They are no match for Gefgarian's vampirism. Look at these guys in a line. Oh yes. Okay. Come to Papa. Oh, I can only get my own guy. Okay, I'll just hang out. It's Ted the Thief. Let's shoot him. And unfortunately, the Dark Knight and the Holy Knight are not under my control.
That's unfortunate.
Well, again, one reason that Agrius is great is even as an NPC, she knows what to do. So she not only damaged that thief, setting him up for Maverick to shoot, but a secondary effect of her Holy Sword is she casts Stop on him. The Holy Sword also imposes status effects.
Does the Dark Knight have a similar effect?
Well, the one ability he has so far drains and restores an equal amount of damage it does, so it's vampiric.
Okay. Still sounds pretty useful.
Oh yeah, they're both great.
Although maybe not when you're as over-leveled as your guys are.
Well, it's not that we're over-leveled, we're over-qualified, we're over-skilled. But yeah, I take your point.
I mean, how much damage are you really getting in a typical battle?
Well, these
It
guys
seems fairly minor.
are giving me a run for my money here. Ooh. Actually resisted that. But okay, that really didn't hurt that much, admittedly. Let's see.
Ironside. It's a good song, too. If any of you listen to Amon Amarth, which that one's a bit of a niche one.
As I've said before, I respect metal, but I don't enjoy it.
And that's a fair position. I listen to a lot of metal, but I haven't listened to a lot of Amon Amarth. Not gonna lie.
I enjoy a lot of what they do. To this day, I think that Yalm's Viking is their best album. But there's a great deal of stuff going on if you're listening for it in your songs. As for Brian's comment, I totally understand that. CL and I have talked about this before, but I understand vaporwave and synthwave and all that, and I cannot stand it.
Well, I love synthwave personally, but it is a personal thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's totally
I don't know
reasonable.
why, but I actually have a strong physical reaction to hearing it. I just... Ugh.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's what I listen to most besides metal. So, it is what it is. I don't judge anyone more or less for liking it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
the-
usually to say that an entire genre is inherently bad, even rap. There's plenty of artistic value in it. It's poetry performed to a beat. So rap has existed in plenty of societies. It's just that the modern examples of it are trash.
You're saying something, Brian, or?
Oh, I was just saying it's the calculator's turn.
Uh-oh.
But oh, indeed.
Ironside. Yeah, like Michael Ironside. I don't know if that's his real name or if that's a... I'm curious now, is Michael Ironside his real name or is that a stage name or something?
The internet
I'd be
knows.
disappointed if that was a stage name, because... Oh yeah, let's look that up.
And Chan is saying synthwave is... I'm not saying that term. Great solo gaming music, although jazz is the superior genre.
I
No,
enjoy
I'm
jazz
not.
too.
I'm not going to say that jazz is bad, so don't think I'm saying that, but is it really fair to compare jazz to synthwave? Because they seem very different to me.
Well, there is retro wave, which is like, well, okay, it's not really synthwave. Synthwave is really bass heavy and really different BPM. But retro wave has a lot of jazz in it, typically, like the Midnight. Excellent band. If any of you like jazz music, like Chan, you should check out the Midnight. Huge recommend. JD Cohen, if you like
Frederick
music that isn't
Reginald
wub wub,
Ironside.
what was that?
I just said Frederick Reginald Ironside.
Yeah, So the Ironside is real, but just the Frederick or the Michael isn't. A lot of things change. Interesting.
All the things to be fake.
Yeah, interesting, right? Fred Ironside does have a ring to it too. So, but yeah, JD Cohen, if you don't like the Wub-Wubs, I can recommend. Let's see, Laserhawk, Lazer Hawk. Great synthwave artist. There's and Mega Drive would be another one I recommend.
A majority of
Both great synthwave
schizophrenics'
artists and the
imaginary friends are named Fred. Like a disproportionate
Really?
number. Yeah. Like there was
Bob.
yeah, there was a scientist, a pseudoscientist who claimed to have invented a machine capable of speaking with the dead, and he claimed to have made contact with a spirit named Fred, and later on just turned out he was a schizo, and Fred was just his headmate.
I was going to say that's either schizophrenia or necromancy. One of them you treat with medication, the other one you treat with fire.
That's right.
That's rather scary, though, to know that a lot of schizophrenics just tend to orient towards the name Fred for their invisible friend.
Yeah, no one knows why.
That's rather frightening.
Mr. Rogers, maybe?
Each puppet is a different personality.
But that would kind of imply some sort of a generational trend. Like that would be like the generation or generations that watched Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood growing up.
Oh, you've also got Jimmy Stewart and his puka.
Who now?
Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, that's right. He has that movie, My Friend Fred, or something like that.
No. Trying to think of the name of the film now. Jimmy Stewart and his puka.
Yeah, the one with the invisible friend, like
Yes.
imaginary friend, right? Except it's
Yep.
not imaginary; it's just invisible.
Harvey. Yeah.
Harvey, yeah, Harvey. That's it. Everyone thinks he's crazy, but it may or may not be real. Fun movie,
Ooh,
because,
Got some
James
great
Stewart.
swag. Yeah, check out this poetry.
By the way, fun fact. Ooh, hello. By the way, fun fact. James Stewart was a brigadier general in the Air Force Reserves.
Yes, he was. There's a great B-58 Hustler film with him in it.
So wait, was that like kind of an honorary deal where they would make like?
No, he was a brigadier general in the reserves.
Wow, where do you have
Actual
time to?
factual flew.
No, go on. It's amazing.
Yeah, he earned the rank. He flew in World War II and maintained the commission.
Wasn't Bob Ross also Air Force?
Yeah, he was actually Chief Master Sergeant before he retired. Top 1%.
Dang.
Yeah. But that's why he never yelled after, because he was a TI. He trained new airmen, and he got tired of yelling, so he never did it after.
I imagine it would wear out the vocals after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got stuck with the hairdo.
Or did it choose him?
Yeah, it may have.
I'm pretty sure he just maintained it as a way of irritating his past self.
No, actually, he didn't want to maintain it, but it became his one of his signatures So he felt he had to maintain it.
Huh. Did not know that.
Okay, significant equipment upgrades. But let us divest ourselves of some dead weight, shall we?
So, Ryan, here's a question: do you think games like these are improved by the introduction of voice acting?
Was that for me?
Or anyone can jump in too, but
Depends on the voice acting.
Yeah.
I was
Counter.
fond of the voice acting in three houses, so it can work.
Yeah. Now, a game series which was definitely not improved by the introduction of voice acting, at least on the part of the main character, is any of the RPGs that rely on player choice or dialogue, such as the Fallout series. Because you have, if you're just writing, you can fit a lot more different dialogue lines into the game. But the second that you have to voice all of the lines, that's time in the studio, that's actors that you have to hire. So I would say that would be far better to just stick with writing things out for the grand, sweeping, branching narrative games.
I'd agree with that. That's a fair assessment, I'd say. But I say even for games like these, there is, if you have good voice acting, it never hurts. But there is a charm to I'd say it's a valid choice to not have voice acting in a game like this, to let the player fill in whatever voice they hear in their head better. At the very least, if you have bad voice acting, just take it out entirely. And just
absolutely.
leave it like this.
If you have good voice acting, it can make a game good. If you have bad voice acting, it will make the game terrible.
Yeah. No voice acting is better than bad voice acting. JD Cohen puts a good point. Voice acting fits first-person shooter quips and nothing else. I wouldn't say nothing else, but it does. For a game like a classic first-person shooter, you only want to hear the character talking quips every now and then. I'd say the best thing Iron Fury did was put a slider for how often she says quips. Because sometimes it can get annoying, sometimes not. Best let the player determine, I say.
I actually quite like the voice acting in Modern Warfare 2. The good one, not the new one.
Oh, you mean the, 20... Oh, God, when did that come out?
Something like that.
20-something.
But, yeah, Shepard and Makarov, their voice actors did a very good job. Had some very iconic lines, too.
I know Gary Oldman played in Call of Duty World at War.
Huh.
Yeah, he was the Russian sergeant, your sergeant, in World at War.
Wait, is that the one with Stalingrad?
Mm-hmm. The one that's basically Enemy at the Gates, yeah. Yeah, he plays your sergeant. And he also reprises him in Call of Duty 1, like Black Ops 2, 3, something like that. Reznov, that's it. Yeah, Sergeant Reznov. That's Gary Oldman.
Interesting.
But that's Gary Oldman. He's excellent at everything.
Yeah.
Eventually, I dropped the link to the B-58 Hustler clip with Jimmy Stewart into the Discord chat.
All right. give that a look later.
Hollow Knight also has some fantastic voiceover work.
Caught about half of that.
Yeah, cutting in and out real bad.
I think you might be hitting some dead patches.
So, yeah, at one bar. Hollow Knight has some fantastic voice work as well.
I haven't played Hollow Knight yet. I need to. I heard good things about it. I just haven't had the chance to check it out yet, though.
Very well made game, good story, and well, I'll say this for the boss fights. There's a mode added by one of the expansions, which is basically just a boss rush arena, and you can pick which bosses you fight. I looked up specifically how to unlock that so I could refight one of my favorite boss fights again. That was the only reason. Yeah, very well made.
Okay.
And all of the expansions come free with the game.
So here we unlock a new feature. You can get jobs at bars. Let's check out the first one. We've got some bandits on the trade route between Dorter and Goland. Oh, they're attacking the Chocobo cart. Oh, they're attacking
And
liquor
it has
shipments.
liquor.
Yeah.
We must rectify this situation at once.
Very well.
They're taking our booze.
Now you do have to pay
That's
the
our booze,
barkeep.
damn it.
Yeah, you've got to pay the barkeep for the info. But they give you the choice up front, so I'm going to pay him. So now we get to decide who goes. So I think I'm going to
Great
send...
facilitators always taking the cut.
Yep.
It's
So the
always
key-
the middleman.
Yeah, the key is to take people we're not going to miss. From what I've read, success is not level dependent. But I'm going to send Rad because he's Rad, and then the two knights I picked up from Agrius. So you get to send 3 units, and then you get to decide how many days they're gone for. The maximum number of days doesn't help determine success, but it does tend to give you a bigger reward if you do succeed. So we'll go 13 days. There are the terms. And you can recall them if you need to. Let's check out some
Is
rumors.
there a time delay on the recall, or is it immediate?
I don't know. Perhaps we'll find out later. Oh, and so it looks like the king died in the interim. The queen was holding the reins. She cleared house. Oh, there's an empress as well. That's interesting.
Huh.
Okay, I can't quite understand this. Did the queen poison the empress? Did the empress poison the queen? Oh well.
I think the queen poisoned the empress?
That's kind of what I'm getting from it, but it's unclear as to the fate of the Empress.
Well, that'll just have to stay a lingering mystery. Oh, we'll be guardian of the prince. Oh no, that's just setting them up for failure. So the queen is siding with Larg. Noble side with Goltana. So Larg is favored for the regency. Oh boy! The old-fashioned peasant.
Oh boy, here we go.
Looks like a tax protest fueled by famine.
And a group of ex-knights known as the Ryomoku appear to be behind it.
I too
I've seen
hate
where this one
taxes.
goes.
Sorry, come again,
I
Martel?
too hate taxes. I can sympathize.
Yeah. Sorry, what
Well, I
was
was
that,
just
Martel?
saying, I've seen this one play out before.
Like, personally?
No,
Is that-
but historically.
Because I'm not discounting that either. We might be seeing it again.
Oh,
Who knows?
peasant rebellions aren't. Ever since the peasantry was abolished, they've become a lot less common.
Oh, they're back. The peasants are definitely back. Just look at Oregon.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah.
But
Just
I'm
without
glad.
the name, right?
I'm glad that the historicity of this game, the faux history, is grabbing you.
Yep.
I'm just reminded of literally every peasant uprising in China. In particular, for some reason, sticks out to me.
Every single one of them sticks out in particular. Well, yeah, I can see how.
Yep. Well, yeah, the Chinese, I don't know what. Chinese peasant rebellions always stick out to me because it's always some sort of famine, and then disease runs rampant, and then the corrupt bureaucrats in the imperial court always raise taxes to ridiculous levels, and then some guy raises a peasant army, usually called either like the Red Eyebrows, the Yellow Turbans, or the Flying Pandas, or something ridiculous. They fight some great battle against the imperial court at some place called like the Dragon's Heavily Pass, and then have like 100 million casualties.
Oh,
And then they lose, but the imperial court also loses all authority, and then the empire shatters, and then rinse repeat.
it's Chinese history. Unless a battle has at least 1 million casualties, it doesn't even qualify as a skirmish.
Right.
Okay, let's check on our guys. Let's see what happened. Now, there are multiple possible outcomes. There's success with reward, partial failure with reward, and then failure without reward. Let's see what we got. Our units we sent will report back to us.
Would you actually be afraid of an army called the Red Eyebrows? Because that was the first peasant army in China that brought down the Han Dynasty at first. The Red Eyebrows. Interesting.
Well, the
Yeah, we succeeded.
Ooh,
I'm going
very
to
nice.
assume that it was something like the Boxers, where the full name is the, what was it? Society of the Righteous and Harmonious Fists, or something of the sort, and then they were just called the Boxers.
Nah, they're just Red Eyebrows because they just painted their foreheads red.
Huh. All right then.
They hated Emperor Mongbong. Nothing more to it. I know the Boxer Rebellion in particular had a lot of interesting things going on behind it.
Yeah, freaking Dowager Empress.
Yep, and that was an interesting point because that was at the lowest point of the Qing Empire, and then the international community got involved, and all kinds of interesting stuff happened from there. But yeah, Red Eyebrows was much more straightforward.
What was the era with the that line, "We're already late"? If you know that one.
We're already late?
Yep. Emperor institutes a bunch of draconian penalties so that just about everything leads to death. A bunch of soldiers are sent to defend one of the border forts against some barbarian incursion. They become bogged down by the weather, realize that they're not going to make it in time. Captain gathers his men and says, "Men, what's the penalty for rebellion?" And they say, "Death." And he says, "And what's the penalty for being late?" "Death." And then he looks around and says, "Well, we're already late."
I love the story.
I don't know that particular. Well, I'm trying to think right now. Nah, one doesn't stick out to me. I know the founding of the Han Empire started when Liu Bang, who was basically a sheriff, was transporting slaves to the Great Wall for the Emperor Qin Huangdi. But some slaves escaped, and he would have been punished. So he went to the slaves and said, "Instead of turning you over to the Emperor, I will free you and risk death." And then they took up arms, and then fought for him, and he became the first Han Emperor. But it's not quite the story that you said. I don't know that story. Yeah, it's interesting. I have to look that one up.
Yeah, I believe that story ended with the rebellion losing in the end, but they did so much damage to the dynasty that it collapsed within a decade.
Might have been the Tang Dynasty. I remember my sister talking to me about it because, yeah, that's it's the folly of being too harsh on your punishment, right? And giving them nothing to lose when you don't know how to escalate, right? Properly.
Let's see. The Dasha Shang Uprising in Shin, China.
And what China?
Shin.
Oh, it's QIN?
Yep.
That's way early then. That makes sense.
Yeah, the Dasha Shang Uprising in 2009 BC. First uprising against Chen rule following the death of Qin Shi Huang. By Chen Shang and Wu Guang.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Halted in Anhui province.
Even if that rebellion failed, it didn't take much for the Shin Empire or the Shin Dynasty to fall after that. Didn't last that long.
Wu was the victim of infighting among the rebel generals while Chen was betrayed by one of his guards and assassinated. However, they set the example that was to be followed by Liu Bang and Xian Wu. Okay.
Yep, and Liu Bang was the one who founded the Han Empire.
Yep.
Yeah, and he became Emperor Han Kaosu.
How long did that dynasty last? Just out of curiosity.
400 years.
Not too bad.
Around 400 years. Yeah, it's a long...
Is he still there?
Chinese dynasty by a country
Oh, there
mile.
you are.
You cut out in the middle of that sentence.
Wait, where?
When you're talking about the dynasty.
Oh yeah, the Han Dynasty had an interregnum at the right around the 200-year mark at the halfway point. That was actually where the Red Eyebrow Rebellion came in. Yeah, Emperor... No, it was Wang Mang of the Wang clan who overthrew the weak, ineffectual emperor. But the moment he took over, the kingdoms of the Western Territories and the Tarim Basin refused to recognize him as their overlord. They
Best
rebelled.
basin.
Let's see. And then the Xiongnu came back in force. He tried to outlaw private property. And then he actually didn't delegate any of the tasks of running the empire to anyone because he was a usurper himself, so he was afraid others would usurp him. The only thing he cared about was trying to enforce Confucian principles and picking the right music to play at ceremonies, which was, as far as he concerned, all Confucian principles cared about. And then the Yangtze flooded like it does around every 100 or so years, and the famine got so bad that the red eyebrows sprang up. The people found him and basically tore him to shreds and used his head as a soccer ball. And then the Han Dynasty came back, and they're like, okay, now we're back. And it took about 20 years to undo the damage that he did and retake the Western Territories.
I was going to say, anytime you are reading Chinese history and you see the adjectives weak and ineffectual used to describe an emperor, you know exactly how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
Very one note in that regard, Chinese history.
Yep. It's a repeating pattern, and they noticed it themselves real quick.
Yep. Now, Roman history, if you ever see the term weak and ineffectual used to describe an emperor, you also usually know exactly how that's going to go.
Yep.
Assassinated by Praetorians. That's how it goes.
Praetorians were... Constantine, the best thing he did was annihilate them.
Well, that was a very good thing he did, but he did a lot of good things.
Oh, okay, no, he did do a lot of great things, but, you know, one of them was, of course, annihilating Praetorians at the Milvian Bridge.
Yeah. And then abolishing them after. You know, they really just set the whole precedent when they killed the emperor that they were formed to protect.
You're gonna have to be more specific. They did that more than once.
Oops.
No, the emperor who formed them, Nero.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did that. Huh?
Actually, wait, I think that there was... No, he killed himself because there was infighting among the Praetorians. He thought that it was the treacherous faction that was about to get him, so he did himself in first, and then it was actually the loyalist faction that found his body a few minutes later.
Oh, wow. Funny that.
He went out the way he deserved to go out, honestly.
Yeah, that's about right. What an artist dies in me.
Yeah.
Let's see what chat has to say. Alright. Peace out, Roll. Have a good night.
Right, roll.
Oh, Bradford Walker did a paper on the Boxer Rebellion during undergrad.
Oh, very nice.
Ah. Very nice. Fascinating.
Look at the swarmed here. These guys are tough.
Are those... What are those?
Those are bombs. They're pretty self-explanatory.
I guess so.
Ooh, hey, look at the time. Apologies for being so abrupt, but I have to leave now.
Alright.
Wish you all good night. Chat, everyone,
Good night.
good night. I hope you all have a good New Year.
Take care, Crusader
night.
Saracen. Have a good one.
And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Happy
Take
New
care.
Year.
Crusader Saracen, everyone.
Always a
Always
pleasure.
good to have a historical perspective that differs from my own.
Indeed.
Just having someone here who knows about Chinese history. Oh, more than the pre-modern one. Let's see.
And as we're all departs, and rest in beef tallow, Tana.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings the other day, and I asked them if it was true that they did their fries in beef tallow, and they said yes.
Sweet
That would be
confirmation.
Yep. I love the fries there.
Really? What is it you like about them?
Buffalo
in
Wild
contrast-
Wings. Yeah.
And in contrast to other fries,
Slightly thinner and just the right amount of crispiness, I think.
mm,
Plus, you can get the dry seasonings with it.
oh, these guys are kicking my ass.
Do love some dry seasoned fries.
Huh?
I think he said he loves seasoned fries.
Yep.
Yeah, BW3 fries are quite good. Been a while since I've had them, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else in chat?
Kill any of these guys. Oh, they'll have a ton of HP.
Back.
Gonna move first. There we go. Okay, that helped. Guess she's not going to be in the way there. Ouch. But he'll just turn invisible again. Nice. Oh, that's okay. He did his part. Oh, sweet.
So,
Yeah.
Ardenon, do you like talking about comics?
Sorry, what was that? One more time?
Feel like talking about comics?
Sure.
Better. All right.
You had a question, or you wanted me to mention something about comics?
Just wanted to see if you had anything, any interesting conversation areas with that.
Well, I think one of the items that popped up in the comments on yesterday's post was kind of interesting. Someone in Europe was asking, so what's the big deal about, why didn't Bendizane, the BD comics in Europe, suffer the same fate that that Western comics did in that how was it, about 56 to 69, somewhere in there. It's kind of, fall off in participation. And I think part of it was advertising. I was commenting that, just magazines in general in the US rely so much on advertising to keep their price points down. Whereas European magazines tend to be much more expensive. They don't rely on advertising to pay for the magazine. The content is expected to pay for it, so you're paying higher prices. And I think one of the things that popped from that was, as you move to the direct market, advertising stopped becoming a supporting function of comic books. And I think when the quality dropped off in the economic downturn, that 71 to 76 period, it was the same time that the discussion about getting comic books out of newsstand was ongoing. And in about 78, direct marketing came on, kind of sewed up the end of advertising. It took another 10 years or so to go away, but it did. The gist, though, is it meant that it was probably more important to get the comic book out and on the stands because of the ad space than it was to say, I need the right amount of time to get the story and artwork right so it's an excellent comic book. I think the US had more of that than France had of that kind of thing. And then, as the questioner pointed out, it was also Europe has regarded comic books as an art form much more than the US has looked at it as an art form. So you tended to attract very talented people who have stories they want to tell, and there's the opportunity to tell them, I think much more so in Europe at times than there is in the US.
I can see that. CL, remind me, was it a French company that did that Elric of Melvin Benet comic?
I believe so.
Alright. If anyone else here knows what we're
Regardless,
talking about.
it was a BD comic book.
Okay. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Elric of Melvin Benet was Michael Moorcock's Eternal Champions character, and I'm pretty sure it's French company did a comic prequel series to those books, and it was very impressive, artistically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my part, I read a lot of Tintin when I was growing up, although that's
Right.
Belgian, right?
It is.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. American artist who was doing a lot of Elric.
Wasn't aware there was one. That's interesting.
Oh yes, in the 70s. Oh, do. Michael T. Gilbert, P. Craig Russell. P. Craig Russell did
Really?
a lot of Elric. Yeah.
What other stuff did he do?
Oh gosh, that's a little more challenging. This would be about the time that I was kind of starting to drift away from comic books again.
Okay.
Give me a second. I can probably track that down for you though.
Yeah, because I don't know a whole lot about the comics scene. You're
Mhm.
a lot more knowledgeable on that than me. So, unless it's one of the more famous things, I probably wouldn't recognize him.
Yeah, I mean he would be doing some. Killraven is one. I think he took over. He was either doing it at the beginning or he took over near the end of the series for that. Again, that would be like early to mid 70s. A little bit of Morbius, the Vampire Slayer, and I think he did some Doctor Strange for a while, but that was kind of spotty, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, we lost Dennis. Oh well. I'll hire another one.
Adieu and farewell, ye fair Spanish ladies.
You fair punching bag.
Ferdinand, do you know with the British comic tradition with like 2000 AD, is that closer to the American or the rest of the European model for comics?
Ooh, yeah, I guess I'd have to say it's kind of a split between the two. It's very much a newsprint style comic, whereas the BD comics are much higher quality in almost all cases as far as the printing quality. Whereas the 2000 AD was very much like American comics. It was a 4-color press, but I think they were dealing with much more advanced themes than the American comics were. So I kind of call them somewhere in between the two. I've got a friend on the comic book Discord I'm on right now. She's Canadian and she grew up reading like the 2000 AD stuff, and it definitely affects her art. The stuff that she does is very traditional Marvel 1960s, early 1970s, but you can see the influence of 2000 AD in her artwork and the way she lays up panels and the like.
And just for my own curiosity, 2000 AD?
Think Judge Dredd.
Okay.
I mean, that's not the whole of it, but that one of the big characters.
Strontium.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Strontium Dog. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still on P. Craig Russell, so definitely Killraven. He actually did that with Don McGregor. Did some Batman work with Michael Golden and Jim Starlin over at DC. Elric, 1982 to 1997, working for both Marvel, Dark Horse, and Topps. So he was very big on Elric, along with Michael T. Gilbert. In fact, I still remember this one because I switched over to indie comics right around 1980 or so. And Pacific Comics had an Elric series, and I know that Russell was working on Elric or for that company. And a number of these have been collected too. I'm sure you can go to Amazon and hunt them down. Yeah, in fact, I just did the search here, and Michael Moorcock Library Volumes 1 through at least 4, and P. Craig Russell is doing it, and I'm recognizing it as probably at least some of the Pacific Comics stuff that I remember.
Fascinating.
Oh, I managed to pull it off. I'll be honest, I really thought I was toast there for a minute.
I was gonna say that was looking a little bit dicey for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the desert is a bad place to farm JP. So when I bring the weenie in, that's basically one character who can't do anything, so I'm down to 4 characters, and then the calculator is so slow, she doesn't get to act, and she just doesn't have enough magic skills yet. So I was really only on 3 characters. But luckily the skeletons can be killed instantly with a revive effect, like a Phoenix Down.
Oh, so they keep that little inversion in.
Yes,
Or they
unfortunately...
put that inversion in.
Yeah, unfortunately, undead don't turn into chests or crystals. They reanimate after a certain number of rounds.
Okay. Does the revive permakill them, or does it just put them down for a bit?
Nope, the only way to permakill them is for them to be down at the end of the battle.
Mm.
Okay.
I dropped a link.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I was just saying, interesting mechanic.
Indeed. I dropped a link to that Michael Moorcock Volume 1. It's Volume 1 of 13. But it's in the Discord.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend my ill-gotten gains, and I think I'm gonna call it, because we've done a good 2 hours. Started a little late. Got some good gaming and some good history in.
Few things this podcast is about.
Originally, it was 1. Oh, cheer up. You can permanently raise Brave with this. I think it's like for every 3 times or 10 times you do it, it gives a permanent 1 point increase. So that's a nice one.
Very useful. And any permanent stat up is.
Yeah. Let's save up for concentrate there. No, it's time to do this. Now, Summoner is the only class that you can do the 99 JP trick with, but if you do it and then even if you buy everything, the game won't give you master status. You don't get the little star. But that's okay.
Gentlemen, I've pulled off the I-20 to refuel, so if you guys end the stream before I'm back here, it's been good hanging out with everybody.
Hey, good to hear from you again, CL. Safe travels.
Take care. Travel safely.
Yeah, I can't believe that I've forgotten about it until now, but I actually watched that Milo versus Beardson debate we were talking about yesterday.
Thoughts?
Well, when they were talking about the subject at hand, it was normally pretty good, and then they kind of devolved into the standard bickering, which we mentioned. But yeah, the part that stuck out was where Beardson was talking about how Pokemon led him to watching Dragon Ball Z, which led him to watching a couple of intermediate things, which led him to watching Kurosawa, and then it ended in Milo's and you're going, okay, are we getting to the great art? And yeah, that just the lack of cultural knowledge and, rather depressingly, the lack of interest in cultural knowledge.
Yeah. Well, you've made it to the stairway to the mezzanine. There are 20 more floors above you at least.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a dark age.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. I'll let you decide what's more depressing.
Well, I guess it's guaranteed employment for us, right?
I
Hopefully.
suppose it is with that.
Okay, let's see if the calculator learned. Nope. Still not enough JP to get anything useful. Boy, that is just going to be fighting me every step of the way. I'm down. We're going to master this math. We're going to be supreme mathletes. So, okay. I'm going to pause our journey to math excellence here. And just take one more look at chat. And then we'll be out. Yes, Shadow Wolf, Margot is the new redshirt. Although she's level 2. So I think what I'm going to do is hire a new guy at level 1. Because the lower the level, the better. The lower the level of the punching bag, the less experience the rest of your units get. But they get the same amount of JP. So they don't level up, and the monsters don't level up with them. Redford Walker, redshirt died, total victory. That's right, he gave his life for a greater cause. Helping the calculator learn. See, Battlestar 1313, I've played this game many times. My favorite thing to start out with is poaching. You know, I've never done the poaching mechanic. That's where you can, like, hunt monsters. Oh, geez, and sorry, I totally missed escape velocity while I was fighting for my life there against bombs and skeletons. So have a good night. Okay, that's really all I had. I will turn the floor over to my co-host one more time.
Nothing more from Ardenon Studios. Everyone have a great night. It's been a lot of fun.
And this has been Martel. Always a good time. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. This is your host, Brian. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe and click the bell icon. Make sure to be here tomorrow night for our last stream of the week. And then we'll have a long weekend and pick it up on Tuesday. Make sure to check out the previous shows and my books in chat. And I will say here that Amazon has accepted the paperback version of the Combat Frame Exceed role-playing game. And I'm going to do the hardcover after this. So, fingers crossed, God willing, both will be available. So you got that to look forward to. Anyway, this has been Geek Gab, Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. Have a good night, and remember, games are better in retrospect.